the Jonestown Massacre or other significant events of the 1970s affect your perspective on life?
Mm, the Jonestown Massacre, I remember, if I'm not mistaken, was in Guyana. In Guyana, which I thought for years was in Africa, but it's in South America. And how I know I have a fighter that is from Guyana, and that's where I put it together. And I was kind of puzzled that people were that gullible to uh, drink something and to have a person that they think is the image of God. And I always say that people, you're a human being. You're not. You know, you make mistakes. You know, you do different things that are human. You know, and I just never could understand. I don't know, 400 people drank poison. You know, because one man said, "Hey, if you drink this, this will happen." But it goes to show you that people don't think things through in this world. They just react.
That was good. Um, how did the end of the Vietnam War and the Watergate scandal shape the national consciousness during your time?
Um, the Vietnam War, I think the Vietnam War, it shaped a lot of perception of America and what a waste war is, what a waste of time, what a waste of life, you know, and then also was the beginning of treating veterans horrible when they came home. They were called baby killers, spit on, called names. Today everyone does to me, thank you for your service, but back then you didn't hear that. You heard baby killer, you were spit on, you were ridiculed, and a lot of men of color died in that war. The ones with money were in the back of the line, and they always had an excuse. Oh, I got bone spurs, I got this. Anything, you know, because we all can't be courageous. Unfortunately, I'm a courageous person, but we all can't be that. So I get that.
How did How did President Nixon's resignation and impact your view of politics and governance?
Well, President Nixon, first of all, I said, boy, they're really sneaky and grimy. It made me feel that they're not to be trusted. If these are the people that are in charge of our government and in charge of our country, their personal feelings and their personal thoughts.
I'm sorry, it like stopped recording.
I'm sorry.
So could you just? I'm gonna ask the question again, and then could you just say it again?
Yeah.
I'm sorry about
That's
that.
That's good.
I just
good, baby.
realized. What was the reaction? How did President Nixon's resignation impact your view of politics and governance?
Just basically what I was saying earlier, it just made me feel that they're not to be trusted. It goes back to them saying one thing, get your vote. When they get in there, they become a different person, you know? And that disturbs me, you know, it's happening today, you know? And it's sad, but they didn't fool me, because I already know what's going on.
What was your reaction to the Reagan Revolution, and how did the political climate of the 80s influence your outlook on life?
From what I remember with Reagan, because actually I know Reagan clearly because that was our commander-in-chief when I was in the Army. First it was President Carter, and then I went into Ronald Reagan because he didn't get reelected. But Ronald Reagan, I know with the Berlin Wall, when Germany was East and West Germany, he was influential in getting the wall taken down, where Germany became one country, which was a good thing. It showed me that, hey, you know, we can make peace with each other, because they were at war for years, and that was a positive thing out of that for me.
Great. I like that you brought up the Berlin Wall because I did have that in there, but then I took it out for extra time. The Exxon Valdez oil spill and the AIDS epidemic were two major crises in the 80s. How did they change the way you viewed environmental and health issues?
Well, the Exxon Valdez spill, that was disturbing to me because when you see birds flying, floating upside down, and all this wildlife is being killed and destroyed, over your safety of the environment, because oil is billions and billions of dollars. It's everything revolves around money in this world, and the heck with the birds and the heck with the fish, fish floating upside down. Every time I looked at those images, that kind of hit me deep. As far as the next question?
It was as far as the AIDS epidemic.
Yes. The AIDS epidemic, it just showed me how rotten human beings are, how hypocritical they are. That they will make another person seem less than them. We're all capable of doing things. We're not perfect, and I feel that the divide of the majority of the people that were dying of AIDS were poor people. And like I said, well, Magic Johnson, well, of course, he's a basketball player. He had money to get the best medicine, and it's just always, to this day, disturbs me, the divide of health between poor and super duper rich, people that work regular jobs. We don't get real good insurance. You work in the government, you get the best insurance, you get the best health care, but then, they promise you other.
Last question. Looking back on the history of the 70s and the 80s, what do you think were the most significant shifts in society during those decades?
The 80s, the 80s was kind of going out of the little rough 10 years in the 80s. The drug, crack epidemic, the AIDS, the crime. It seems like, after that, it's like it was a shift where they, a lot of these cities where this was taking place, they gentrified it. They bought everything because it was cheap. They tore it down. They built it up. They put the Starbucks, the Target there, so it's comfortable for people to go. They make it livable. That's good. It's not all bad, but it's just sometimes these things could have been done before that. They waited till, a lot of lives were lost before they said, hey, look, we're going to clean up High Street and we're going to put this and that. And, they just wait too late. They just waited too late.
Perfect. Thank you. Any last thoughts?
No, I just pray that we get ourselves together. We do our research of who we pick and choose to speak for us as a people. We don't forget where we came from in our history. There is no man on the planet Earth will ever take away my black history. There was too much blood, too much hanging, too much lynching, too much crying, too many tears, where someone to just go, oh, forget about it. We need to forget about it. So if the good for the goose, good for the gander. If it's good for me, then it's good for Jews, it's good for everybody else that went through things in this country. Because we built this country.
Exactly. Thank you so